As I mentioned in previous sections, unless you don't have any other choice, you always want to bring the girl back to your home, okay? You don't want to bring her back to her home if you could avoid it, because you'll always have way more control over what happens in your home than you ever will at her place, especially in the beginning, because you get to control who's there and who's not there, and you get to set your home up in a way that's conducive to close. So you'll have alcohol there, and you'll have music set up, and it'll be clean, and everything will be in your favor at your home. You don't know what's going on at her home. Now, it doesn't matter so much whose home you do end up bringing her to as far as isolation goes. If there are other people there, you always want to do whatever's possible to bring that girl into a room alone so that you two could hook up without anyone interfering, okay? I promise there's almost no exception to this. Her friends might see you escalating on her, and they might become overprotective and stop you or kick you out, or maybe you'll just want to wait for them to leave and then they just won't, and so you'll lose your opportunity. And if you do go for that escalation, let's say in your home or in her home, she really might get embarrassed. She might become uncomfortable or ashamed, and she might shut it down or just leave early or whatever and just prevent you from actually making it happen. You know, I've actually been in situations where we were hooking up, and then she all of a sudden hears my roommate come in, and then she's like, whoa, 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 and she all of a sudden felt so judged and ashamed, and you don't want that to happen, especially if you guys have been vibing well up until now. So look, even if you have roommates or friends and they're all very cool and well-intentioned, they could ruin the whole thing by saying something stupid or doing something stupid that offends her, or maybe even they're trying to be nice. Maybe they invite her to watch a movie, like you guys to watch a movie with him or her or whoever's there, and now she actually wants to be polite, or maybe she wanted to see the movie, and they derail your whole thing. And yes, there are ways to handle that, but you don't want to have to deal with it. Some things might throw you off so much, and you won't know how to deal with it. So look, if you're going to take her back to your place, make sure your roommates know to either not be there or to be very, very quiet and completely out of sight, that she doesn't know that they're there at all. And if they do need to be there, they should know, stay away while you're trying to close. Like, get out, okay? Be there for a minute, leave. She should really not think that they're even, it should not be a thought in her mind. Now, if you have to bring her back to her place, find out ahead of time if her roommates are going to be there. And if you find out that they are going to be there, you want to preempt it. Basically, ahead of time, you want to say, look, I really like spending time with you, but look, when we go back to your place, just bring me into your room or something, because I don't want to end up in a conversation with your friends when I came out here to meet you. Even though they might be nice, I want to get to know you. And when you get back there, if she doesn't lead you directly to her room, just ask her which one's hers, take her hand, walk her into her room, and close the door behind you so that there's really no interference at all. Look, a lot of guys make the mistake that they don't want to isolate or lead because for whatever reason they feel anxious about it, and they don't push past the awkwardness, and what happens is they start to lose their chance. So look, you absolutely have to do whatever it takes to isolate her. Like, you have to. I'm telling you, if you don't do it, it's less likely that's going to happen, and you're likely to lose the girl and realize it's a massive insult to her to think, okay, this guy's really not that into me because he didn't go for it. So look, if you pulled her, you got to go for it. Now, if you pulled her in a group, you're still going to want to isolate her. You still want to find a way how to bring her into the room away from everyone else without ever making it seem like it's a big deal. So what I do is I'll say, hey, come with me, I want to show you something, or just, hey, come with me. And then I'll begin leading her to my room, and I'll go into my whole spiel about how I want to show her my bookcase or whatever, which I'll get into in a moment. But what I'll do before I leave is I'll say, hey guys, I'm going to take your friend, I'm going to be back in a bit, I'm going to give her the tour. One of my favorite things I'll say is, oh, we're going to bond, so I don't hide it. We're going to bond, I'll see you in 20 minutes. One of the things I also really like to do is I'll say, okay guys, so look, mixers are in the fridge, there's a bunch of alcohol at the mini bar, and there's whatever weed you want, change the music if you want. I'm going to take your friend, we're going to bond, we'll see you in 20 minutes, okay? So have fun. And this way, no one's bothering us. They're completely distracted and occupied, and it's not like the situation where, let's say in the club, where if you're meeting a girl and all of a sudden her friends are bored, and so they start cock blocking because they're like, well, I'm bored, I don't care about this guy, and so they end it and make your life harder. Now I want you to realize, look, you don't need a big reason to bring a girl back to your room. When I'm, let's say, for instance, at my assistant's place, I always say, hey, take your girl and bring her, show her the turtle, because he has a wooden turtle, I'm like, show her the wooden turtle. And she's like, the wooden turtle? I'm like, yeah, you guys have fun, show her the wooden turtle. And she's like, okay. And I'll do that with my girl too. So what I'll do actually is I'll use my bookcase and I'll say, hey, I want to show you something. And as we're going to my room, I'll say, so one of my favorite things to do is show people my bookcase, because I love to read a lot. And based on the response, I know how well we're going to get along. So every girl's like, okay, let me see if we have chemistry. Let me see this bookcase. And yes, she knows she's going to my room and stuff, but it is a nice, like, high value story because I read a lot and she knows I'm smart and whatnot, and it helps. So look, if you're back at the girl's place though, it will be a little bit different. What I would just recommend to do then is just say, is this your room? And she'll say, yeah. Or, ask her which one her room is and just say, cool, show me. And then either take her hand and walk right in, or if she doesn't come, you could always just walk right in and be like, come. So realize sometimes she might be a little bit hesitant, especially if other people are there. But the more confidently and assumptive you are when you go for it, the more compliant she's likely to be. So that's just like how it is. People just follow those that are confident, and if you do that, she's going to go for it. But also realize that sometimes she just might need some encouragement, or even a few minutes to just, become a little bit more comfortable with the idea. So if she says no initially, or kind of brushes off the idea, give her a few more minutes of vibing and then go for it again and be like, all right, well, look, I'm going in your room, come and get me, and just run in. And then you could even, build on that. Sometimes I might be like, oh my God, what's this under the bed? It's a vibrator, holy shit, and like she'll come in and be like, what are you doing? And she'll run in, I'm like, close the door, and then now we could have that alone time together. But I really want you to understand that you absolutely have to go for this, because if you don't, it's not gonna happen. I swear, like, I'm gonna say this a million times, it's not going to happen unless you go for it. And even for the few times it does, that is such a rarity. So don't count on it. Be grateful if it does happen on its own, or she does all the work for you, but expect to put in the work, okay? As I mentioned in previous sections, the more responsibility and leadership you're willing to take, the more you're going to get laid. And if you don't need it for 1 or 2 interactions here and there, great, but most of the time you will.